Hello, in this video, I'm going to go through all the cards. So I would include if I was going to play a Baylen the Haymaker commander deck. This is going to be focused on making a ton of tokens and specifically playing with a bunch of rabbits. Hare Apparent is a rabbit that you can have any number of cards in your deck. When it enters, you create a number of 1/1 white rabbit creature tokens equal to the number of other creatures you control named Hare Apparent. So the first one is just a 2/2. The second one is a 2/2 with a buddy. The third one is a 2/2 with two buddies, and it stacks from there. Giving us tokens, we can make mana with our commander, draw cards off our commander, or put plus encounters onto our commander and give it trample. I'm playing about 25 to 30 of these, depending on how many cards other I want to play on the list, but I'm looking at probably about 25 for this list. Anointed Procession is 3 and a white for an enchantment. It creates an additional token. You don't have to play these types of cards, but whenever I have a card that cares about a lot of untapped tokens, I'm going to look to my token doublers. Artifact Mutation is red-green for an instant. It destroys an artifact and makes X 1/1 sapling creature tokens, where X is that artifact's mana value. Just dumps a ton of tokens in play. Paying 2 mana and hitting like a 5-drop, getting 5 1/1s is a fantastic amount of value. An Mutation is an enchantment version that also makes saprolines, or saprolines. So destroy an artifact for 2, make 5 1/1s, destroy an enchantment for 2, make 4 1/1s. Pretty good. Beast Within destroys a permanent and replaces it with a token. Just good removal in our colors. Kadara, Caller of the Small, is 1 green and a white for a 3/3 with trample. When it deals combat damage to a player, for each token you control, create a 1/1 white rabbit creature token. So whenever this connects, it doubles the amount of tokens you have. So if you already have 8, now you're up to 16. Great card. And it has trample, so you can stick plus encounters on this through any of your effects, or if you have equipment in your list. And it's going to be easy to get that trample damage, because you just have to deal 1 trample over. Caretaker's Talent, 2 and a white. Whenever 1 or more tokens enter, draw a card only once each turn. So just draw a card whenever your deck does what your deck wants to do. For 1 white, you create a token that's a copy of target token you control. So it's really just like 1 white, make a token. It doesn't matter what the token is a copy of. And then for 4 mana, you can make all of your tokens into +2/+2, which is probably going to make all your 1/1s into 3/3s, which at 3/3, double blocking a 6/6 is fantastic. And they hit pretty hard, right? You're going to have to set up some chump blocks. And if you already have like a plus counter on them, and the other kind of effect, now they get to 4/4. 4/4 is really that range for me where they're formidable attackers too, because you can't just chump block them with most things. Cultivate Ramsus. Dawn's Truce gives us and permanents you control hexproof. And if it was promised, they also gain indestructible. So you can just give the opponent that's not casting the board to wipe a card, and then protect all of your stuff. Dazzling Theater and Prop Room gives creature spells you cast Convoke. So now you can tap your tokens to help pay for the one or the color of the token. But also Prop Room is the part that I'm playing this for. Untap each creature you control during each other player's untap step. You're tapping their tokens to make mana or draw cards or put plus counters onto your commander. Untapping on 3 extra turns every time around the table guarantees that we're going to be able to draw multiple cards and put multiple plus counters, and then that's going to go 4 to 7 to 10 to 13 really fast. So where you're only hitting twice to kill someone, and Baylen's going to get up really fast. Doubling Season is another token doubler and a plus counter doubler. Elspeth Stormslayer is another token doubler, but it also can destroy target creature an opponent controls with mana value 3 or greater. And the 0 mana ability on Elspeth is really nice because you can put a plus counter on each creature you control and give them flying. So you have, 3 creatures and 7 tokens. All of a sudden, you're aiming for 10 flyers, which is going to be at least 20 damage. Farmer Cotton is X green white. When it enters, create X 1/1s and make X food tokens. So this just spits out a ton of tokens. And if you can convoke into this, you're essentially doubling the number of tokens you have. Farseek Ramsus, but this can get a non-basic land. Felidar Retreat is 3 and a white for a landfall. Whenever a land you control enters, choose 1. Create a 2/2 white cat beast creature token, or put a plus counter on each creature you control and give them vigilance. I think most of the time we're going to put a plus counter on each creature we control, because now all of our 1/1 rabbits can attack as 2/2s, plus them having vigilance means they can attack, and then during combat we can tap them to draw cards or put additional plus counters, because Baylen's abilities are not tied to only being sorcery speed, they just have to be untapped, which vigilance can guarantee. Phineas Ace Archer is green-white for a 2/2 legendary creature, Rabbit Archer, Vigilance, and Reach. Whenever it attacks, put a plus counter on each other creature you control as a token or rabbit. Then if creatures you control have total power 10 or greater, draw a card. So this puts plus counters on all of our tokens, plus we're trying to play rabbits anyway. All of our Hare Parent tokens are rabbits. and then you can draw an extra card every turn, which is nice. For the common good, XX green, create X tokens that are a copy of target token you control, then tokens you control get indestructible until your next turn. You gain 1 life for each creature you control. It's not an instant. I really wish it was an instant, but it can build you up a lot of tokens, which is nice. Grand Crescendo, X white. So basically for white, creatures you can token indestructible, which is good whenever we're trying to play a big commander and a bunch of tokens with it. But then any additional mana you can pump into it makes X citizens. So the floor of this card is white, creatures you can token indestructible, which is a card we would play, right? We'd play Heroic Intervention, we'd play Dawn's Truce. Just getting additional tokens on top of that is even better. Halo Fountain is 2 and a white. For a white, you can tap it to untap target tapped creature you control to make a 1/1 green and white citizen creature token. White, untap 2 tapped creatures you control to draw a card. White, untap 15 tapped creatures you control, you win the game. So getting up to 15 tokens in a Naya-focused token set is not going to be hard. And you have a way to tap tokens at instant speed, as long as you can do it in multiples of 2 until the end, and then you do it in multiple of 3. So you can tap 1 token, but if you have 11 tokens, you would just tap 4 twice and then 3 once, and then you'd have all your tokens tapped. So then it's not going to be hard to win with Halo Fountain, is what I'm trying to say. Especially if you can take care of your land base and have a lot of dual and tri-lands, right? Triomes, the Naya tri-land, and a lot of duals. So you can guarantee you have a lot of white mana. Heroic Intervention, 1 green, permanent you control gain hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. Hop to it, spits out 3 little 1/1 rabbits. Hour of Reckoning destroys all non-token creatures. So you lose your commander, but your commander's already gone and you save all of your other tokens. Who cares? Idol of Oblivion draws this card if we made a token this turn, and you can eventually sacrifice to make a 10/10, but I just love drawing an extra card every turn. Impact Tremor deals 1 damage to each opponent whenever a rabbit, not a rabbit, but just a creature enters, and it's going to be a rabbit, right? Like I was saying, I was looking at playing 20, 25, 30 rabbits, Hare parents, and those are just making tokens every time they enter. Jacked Rabbit is X1 white. For a 1/2 with Ravenous, this creature enters with X plus counters on it. If X is 5 or more, draw a card when it enters. Whenever it attacks, create a number of 1/1 white rabbit creature tokens equal to Jacked Rabbit's power. So this is just going to keep spitting out tokens as long as we can put a plus and counters on it, which is something we're going to attempt to do with the cards on this list. Jetmir Nexus of Revels is 1 red, green, white for a 5/4. Creatures you control get +1/+0 and have vigilance for as long as you control 3 or more other creatures. Creatures you control also get +1/+0 and trample as long as you control 6 or other creatures. And the creature you control also get +1/+0 and double strike as long as you control 9 or more creatures. So all of your tokens, if you have 9 tokens, would be 4/1 vigilance, trample, double strike. So it would be 8 damage that they could deal to things, which is just fantastic. And giving them all vigilance means you can tap them after they attack to Baylen the Haymaker. Lightning Greaves, target creature gains haste and shroud. Gotta protect our commander and hit in hard and fast. March of the Multitudes is X green white for a convoke, makes X 1/1 white soldier creature tokens with lifelink. This pseudo doubles the number of tokens you have, and you can do it at instant speed. Mondrak, Glory of Dominus, creates double tokens. Nature's Lore can get us a forest, and it can be a non-basic forest. Parallel Lies doubles the number of tokens you have coming into play. I'm playing a ton of these doublers because we're playing Hare Parent. If we weren't playing Hare Parent, I'm not sure I'd be playing some of these doublers. Pass to Exile is 1 white for an instant. Blasts a creature and gets you a basic land. The nice thing is you can also use this in yours on your own creatures. Just hit a rabbit, and it can ramp you. Peregrine Took, 2 and a green. Whenever 1 or more tokens are created under your control, those tokens plus a food are made, and you can tap the food to Baylen the Haymaker. It's not just creature tokens. It's just tokens. Rampant Growth can ramp us. Rosie Khan of South Lane. Whenever it enters, create a food token. Whenever you create a token, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control other than Rosie. Season of the Burrow is 3 white. Choose up to 5 paws worth of modes. You may choose the same mode more than once. So you can make 5 1/1 rabbits. You can pay 2 paws to exile target non-land permanent. Its controller draws a card. You can pay 3 paws. Return target permanent card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield with an indestructible counter on it. So you can make 2 1/1s and get something back. You can exile something and make 3 1/1s. You can exile something and get something back. You can create 3 1/1s and exile something. Lots of options. Second Harvest, for each token you control, create a token that's a copy of that permanent. Instant speed doubles all of your tokens. Secure the Wastes is white X, create X/1/1 warrior creature tokens. This can just spit out a ton of tokens. Seaboard Muse untaps all permanents you control during each other player's untap step. And you can immediately tap all of your tokens to Baylen again, or any of your instants. So Secure the Wastes is an instant. This untaps your lands. You can just go crazy. Skull Clamp is a way to sacrifice our rabbits to turn them into 2 cards. Northern Tithe, Soul Rain, Swiftfoot Boots, all just good cards. Sword Supply Shares is removal. 3 visits is more ramp. Right, we're trying to spit out all these token doublers, so we need more ramp. And War Leader's Call is actually a way to buff our rabbit tokens, making them into 2/2s, while also being an Impact Tremors type effect. Those are all the cards that I would include if I was going to play a Baylen the Haymaker Commander deck. Now, you're probably looking at the deck and going, that was not a lot of cards. But that's because my final number was 20. I decided to play 20 Hare appearance. You could play more, but you'd be losing more cards. And I think there's a lot of room to play more Impact Tremor type effect, maybe take some of your doublers out. Just have to play the deck more to find out. But if you enjoyed the video, you can see the deck list in the description. I have some other links there if you'd like to support the channel. They're all affiliate links, except for Moxfield, #not sponsored. I hope you have a good rest of your day, and may your top decks be ever in your favor. Thank you.